Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Elanor,
And I'm Kalina.
and welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we talk about movies. Kind of.
I gotta go change all of the branding now. The kinda definitely comes before talk about movies, but it's okay because
It's okay. I got all the words in
sentiment still
there.
stands. Yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't matters.
yeah. Um, but yeah, today we're talking about our favorite kind of movie, which is an album.
Yep.
And one of the songs is about movies, which is why we're justifying it today.
You know what? Sure. I watched a movie before we started to record this, so I think that the energy will come
What
through somewhere.
what movie?
Hot Frosty.
How'd you feel? Wait, we'll
I
do a
have a
whole
lot of
show about
questions.
that, actually.
My main point on Hot Frosty is I have a lot of questions about why you liked Hot Frosty,
Um, have
but
you
we'll discuss
ever?
that later.
Yeah, I do have a good reason. I don't know if it's one I went on the internet, but I'm gonna tell you and you'll go, yeah.
Okay.
Um, but today, friends, we are talking about Annie DiRusso's debut album called
hmm
Super Pedestrian. Um, yeah, it's an album. It came out earlier this year. The deluxe version just came out, which made me remember that the album existed and that I liked it, which led us here. Kalina, do you want to tell us a little bit about who Annie DiRusso is?
Yes, the Wikipedia page didn't give me a lot to work off of, I'll be honest. But what I did find on the Wikipedia page said that Annie DiRusso is an American indie rock artist from Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm.
Crazy sentence, string of words to put together. I don't put indie rock and Nashville, Tennessee together.
No, I feel like Nashville has kind of centered itself as the heart of country.
Yeah,
Um,
which is fine. But just
yeah.
I'm not expecting indie rock to pop up in there. But anyway, indie rock artist out of Nashville. Released what I thought was interesting is Annie DiRusso released 13 original songs prior to releasing an EP, which they released in 2023. It's called God I
Oh.
Hate This Place. So like a decent body of work out. And then so the EP came out February 2023. Super Pedestrian, this debut album, was released the 7th of March of this year. And as Eleanor said, Deluxe released on the 5th of December of this year. And Annie DiRusso has opened for, I'm not saying that, and the Beaches.
Yeah, so the fun thing, I learned this today as part of my research for this. Annie DiRusso, you can, Kalina, I know, you can settle down. She does exist in the greater One Direction cinematic universe,
Oh,
because Annie opened for the Beaches. The Beaches will be opening for Louis Tomlinson on his upcoming world tour.
I feel like that's a preemptive 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but I'll allow
It's
it.
a very loose separation, but I found it out and I said, I gotta mention it. I
All right,
I have a
you
brand.
know what? I'll let it work.
Thank you.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So like a good set of songs. To be fair, two of the 13 original songs released prior to the EP were on the EP. They were like singles from it,
Mm.
but still, like 13 songs out there introducing Annie DiRusso to the world before we get any like official releases.
I I kind of can confidently say that neither of us ever heard any of her work prior to this album.
Yeah.
Um, I listened to about 15 seconds of an earlier song because I clicked on the wrong thing and I didn't like it as much, but like it's not what we're here to talk about. Um, so this album, like Kalina said, it came out earlier this year. Little X just came out. It's alternative indie kind of music she makes. Um, I found out about this because I heard one of the singles from this album on TikTok, um, which is where all great music lives. Um, I really liked it. I gave the album a go. Really liked it. This is one of the like 5 albums I had on rotation during an 8-hour road trip. Uh,
Okay.
and I think it's good driving music, and also good music in general. And somebody that I had a crush on forever ago just recently posted this album to their Instagram story. So like we've got taste, maybe.
You've got a brand and you're
I've got a
sticking to it.
brand. Yeah. Do you have any general thoughts you would like to put out before we?
Um, if I don't talk a lot in this episode, it is because I'm trying to keep us on time and not for the other reason that it will seem like. Okay,
Okay.
that's all.
Sure. Yeah.
Stuff can be two things, but
Yeah.
mostly though, I'm trying to keep us on time.
I did kind of make Kalina listen to this album. I wasn't really under the pretenses that it would be a well loved album, but I thought it was interesting. So,
Which I mean, you've done before. We listened to that Rachel Chinariri album, and I
mhm.
didn't love it, but I have a couple songs on my playlist.
And then we listened to her together in an Old Navy.
We did
hmm
so.
She wasn't there, but Anyway, sorry. Back on track, like Kalina just said. Okay. The opening song for this album is called Ovid. It was named after a tiny town in Colorado. Um, and one thing about this entire album is that it's very noise heavy in a way that I don't usually like in albums or kind of generally not a big fan of noise. But it weirdly worked for me. It's like, I don't know, clanging pots and pans, auto-tuney kind of static noise.
Mhm.
Um, I think it works here. I also think that Annie just is a really great songwriter. Um, and I think that she's able to very much craft a story. Um, I pulled out one of my favorite lines from this song, which is C-section baby, my mom cut herself open for me. Which I think is like a very dramatic line, but it also kind of sets the tone of how dramatic in kind of a good way to me that this whole thing will be. Um, there's also a line where it's like, I had to get out and look that possum in the eye. Thank God I don't drive. The blood isn't on my hands this time. And this kind of roadkill motif theme comes up later in the album. And then I found an interview with Annie about this album. And she says that this song introduces a push and pull felt throughout the album, the struggle I have with surrendering to the present, which, again, it's not like I don't think the songs overall have like difficult concepts to understand. Um, but I don't think that they're kind of presented like super elementary y. I think she kind of had a vision for each song, and I think the vision is very obvious, but not in like a we get it kind of way, if that makes sense.
Mhm. I'm glad you said what you said about Ovid because that does tweak one of my criticisms, which is I don't like why are we writing naming songs after poets, and I don't really feel like we're getting anything poetic here. I disagree. I do think it's written in a very it's written in a very digestible way, but I think I still think it is too elementary and like spoon feeding you the message at times. My first note is why are we yelling? I normally like more noise than Elanor does. I think not even noise, but like I do like louder music than Elanor does. Wait, why are we yelling? It's a little too loud for me. It sounds chaotic in like an unpolished way, which I'm okay with for a debut. But also, like I said, she's put out like she had an EP. She's put out 11 songs before the EP. So I've just felt like the sound should have been more polished. I don't think this is a good opener. I think the ending of it kind of like Eleanor said, a pots and pans clangy sort of way. I do think that would have done really well at the end, kind of end on that chaos that's not really quite singing, not quite instrumental. I have no clue what she's saying at any point in this song
That
or
is,
album, to
yeah.
be honest. And one line I kind of liked, but also I think kind of highlights something that'll come up throughout the rest of the album for me is she says, I never want to hear nothing to change my mind. So like she's aware of who she is as a person and she's like listen this is my lot in life, but to me throughout the I think just because of how the message was delivered as we go throughout it feels very much like well I'm flawed but I'm not doing anything about it, sucks sorry,
Womp womp.
womp womp.
I think I think that is one way to interpret the album. I think I interpret it differently, but also like I definitely see where you got that and where you're coming from.
I think like you said, you brought up a lot of points of things I didn't like. I just think the things you liked stood out to you more, whereas the things I liked weren't balanced well by the
Mhm.
things I didn't like.
Fair enough. Not everything is for everyone. Also, yeah, I would, in an ideal world, this song would be less noisy, um, but I like it. I also, because I listened to this on a road trip, I was really trapped listening to it. So if I didn't like it, I had to push through, which I think made me like it a little easier because I was like, well, I'm here.
I will say I did a couple of listens, and definitely by the end, and once I started looking at the lyrics, I liked the songs more. But I still wouldn't pick this out as like one of my favorites off of the album.
Fair enough. Uh, the next song is one of my favorites off the album. Um, I guess I'll start first because I started already. Um, the song is called Back in Town, and I think this song like perfectly encapsulates uh having a crush on a man who kind of hates you, or like somebody who only like remembers that they like you when you're in the same room as them, which I think is something that everybody can relate to a little bit. There's a line here that says, "You know I'd be your girl if you would only ask." Um, which again I think is the entire thesis of the song. Um, and about this, Annie said that they wrote 20 verses, and as they wrote it, she was like admitting things to herself about the situation. Um, and there's also a line, the I think it's the chorus, maybe it's the bridge. I don't know parts of songs, but she continues to say, "When you're back, you're back." And again, just that whole thing of like, when you're in this same room as me, like you're here and we get along, but like once you leave the room, you couldn't care less about me, and I don't like that.
You know that sound on TikTok that's like, if you're gonna be stupid, you better be tough. That's me talking to people. If my friend came to me, right, with this exact scenario, it was like, yeah, every time he like leaves the room, he like forgets I exist and he treats me so badly. I'd